You guys ready to create a little magic today? Yes. Yeah? Play with some alchemy? We're going to do some alchemy today. Let's see. Wingardium Leviosa. Okay, Olivia, maybe you need to help me with this. All right, stand up. Let's do this together. Wingardium Leviosa. You're supposed to be levitating right now. Maybe you are levitating, you just don't know it. I think maybe. And, this is my daughter's wand, so they say, you have to have your own wand. My daughter said, you better take care of it. You better, don't lose it, don't drop it, take care of it. It's very precious to her. So, put it right there. It's pretty precious. It's very precious. So, to be a child, to be a child, the possibilities that just accept as normal. And a teen, I remember when I was a teen, my favorite band was Led Zeppelin. Oh, yeah. Led Zeppelin, Robert Plant, okay, he was a god to me. I saw him in concert a couple of times. And one of their favorite songs that I have to say really holds up today is a song called Ramble On. Yeah. And you know that song so it's sort of a nod to Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, and he sings about a tale that can't be told. When years ago, when days of old, when magic filled the air. It's that beautiful time. So, where is the magic today? Why do we always associate magic with the days of old? In medieval times, it brings to mind King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table and Merlin, right? Merlin and the magic land of Camelot. I mean, did magic die out then? No. Oh, good. It's alive today, right? It is. I think it's time we brought it back. Absolutely. And I think it's here. It's just that so many of us, we live in this modern era of rational thinking and science, proven scientific formulas. There's just no room for the magic. But it's here. It's just that we've been very well trained not to see it. And, God forbid, somebody should share some experiences that they had that goes beyond the five senses and maybe has, can't be proved scientifically. And, they're mocked sometimes. So we don't trust it. We don't trust it. And as a result, the world has become a little dry and uninteresting because of it. Well, I think we need to add some magic back, right? Let's add it back. And the interesting thing, fascinating thing about alchemy, when I was looking this up, wow, do you know that it existed in diverse places on the planet well before it reached medieval Europe? The Chinese practiced alchemy. It was part of the Taoist understanding. They practiced it in India. It was part of the Vedic, handed down by the Vedic understanding. It was practiced in Hellenistic Egypt and in ancient Greece, and it was kind of mixed in with their mythology. Even the Islamic world had a definite practice of alchemy. And right before it was brought to medieval Europe. So, it's been kind of everywhere. It's an ancient wisdom. And, in those days, things were connected more. They thought of alchemy not just in terms that we traditionally think of. The traditional understanding is that it's a precursor of chemistry. Right? And that it is sort of the magic formula for transmuting base metal like lead into nobler metals like gold, right? But it's really so much more than that. And the way that it was practiced, it was the Chinese were practicing it for medicinal purposes, kind of part of the qi energy and the understanding of the energy grid of the world. It was very often seen as a search for a panacea for all that ails you, or the elixir of immortality. We've often talked about the elixir of immortality. So it was a wider understanding and practice than we traditionally think of. And all of these things, sort of a spirit, mind, and body were more integrated then. It was thought of more holistically. These days we think of the body as being separate than the mind, which is encased in the brain, separate from the spirit, which is something altogether, if it exists at all. But back then, those things were seen more intertwined. And the transmutation of those things were represented by something called the Philosopher's Stone. You heard of the Philosopher's Stone, which has a fascinating legend that goes all the way back to Adam, apparently, who was given it directly by God himself. And it appears actually in several places in the Bible. It's referenced. Legend has it that it was handed down to Thomas Aquinas in the 13th century. It appeared in Psalm 118, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. All of these, it appeared in so many different ways. All cultures, the Buddhists had something called a Philosopher's Stone that they called the Sintamani, which is responsible for transmuting the body into eternal gold, really, sort of immortal divinity. The Hindus had it too. That same kind of idea of transmutation of that human path into a more divine understanding, a more spiritual, understanding. So all of these different ways that people were practicing alchemy at the time kind of all came together. And then it eventually showed up in medieval Europe. So throughout history, there has been this fascination with transmutation. Just this fascinating transmutation, turning base metal into gold, turning mortality, transmuting mortality into immortality, and affliction and ignorance into spiritual enlightenment. And that fascination continues to today. Now, mostly we think about it in terms of fiction and fantasy. Like, the best example right now is Harry Potter series. The first book, did you know Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, that was the first book. It was originally published in England when it originally came out as Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. So, I think American publishers thought, nobody's going to know what that is. Let's call it something more magical, like the Sorcerer's Stone. So that it became, the book and the movie. But, and correct me if I'm wrong, Olivia, I understand you're a big Harry Potter fan. But the Philosopher's Stone or Sorcerer's Stone was very valuable. And of course, it was hidden away and protected by this impossible combination of challenges that one had to go through in order to access it, because it gave one immortality. Do you know about that too? You're a Harry Potter fan.
Supposed to go through it. They were supposed to die trying.
They were supposed to die trying? Well, certainly they wanted to keep it away from someone, Voldemort, person. Because if he got it, didn't it cause one to have immortality? It gave one immortality. So you really wanted to protect that. Right? Really wanted to protect that. So, in fiction and fantasy, these things exist, but I always think that all good works of fiction that endure pull on our heart because there's something in there that is true. I mean, something resonates in our soul. I think our soul is crying out to recapture a wisdom that we once knew. This magic of transmutation. Magic in general. I think that's why the Harry Potter books are so popular. Lord of the Rings. No, there's something in there for us. Make no mistake, magic is very real. It's alive and well today. It's just that we might look at it a little differently. We might experience it a little differently. So, how can we think of alchemy today in terms that we can, that we can understand and that we can work with today? Because, sort of the modern day alchemy is more about an internal transmutation, internal transformation. So what can we possibly think about in terms of transmutation and transformation? What about the possibility of transforming an ordinary, challenge-filled life into an extraordinary life? And transmuting adversity and fear and lack and limitation into an experience of joy and harmony and abundance. Can we use alchemy for that? To transmute that. That is something that we can use. And I'll bet you know the answer to this next question because some of you were here last week when we started talking about this. So what is the quickest way to transform an ordinary life into an extraordinary one?
Gratitude.
Gratitude! You got it. Yeah. And transforming challenges and adversity into something that actually blesses us? Gratitude. Absolutely. Gratitude. Not just everyday gratitude, ferocious gratitude. Remember, we talked about ferocious gratitude last week. Outrageous, brazen gratitude. The extreme sport of gratitude, as Pam Grout puts it in her book. And this series is kind of based loosely around Pam Grout's book, Think and Grow Rich. And she says, practicing gratitude is to practice alchemy. Looking for the good in life literally changes things, physically changes things, financially changes things, mentally and emotionally changes things. It literally rearranges atoms and reconfigures molecules. What I've discovered is that living in the frequency of joy and gratitude causes cataclysmic reverberations. Cataclysmic reverberations. I've noticed that too. And so has everyone else I know who has committed to a daily practice of proactive gratitude. It is our philosopher's stone. Gratitude is the alchemy. It is the secret. It transmutes lower energy into golden living. Golden experiences. You see, we've forgotten that we're here to express divine light, to enjoy life, and to love everything. That is the magic formula for a successful life. That's it. That's the philosopher's stone. And when we shift to that understanding, it transmutes everything for us. Golden. It's golden. When we're so focused on what's wrong with the world and all of our problems and what's missing from our lives as opposed to what we have, the abundance that is all around us and within us. When we focus on what's missing, we're cutting off the flow. We're blocking the natural flow of good, that natural impulse of spirit, which is to express in harmonious, joyous, and abundant ways. That's the natural way of things. Now, to get back to that reference, to Psalm 118. When I read about this, it's like I got chills. My third eye sort of opened, It was just so awakening to me because, okay, this is the psalm that has my favorite line, which is, "This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it." I start my day, every day, with that. Well, I sort of reinterpret it. I say, "This is the day that God has made, and I rejoice in it." That's how I start every day. So I really wasn't familiar with the whole thing, the whole context. The whole context is one of an exclamation of gratitude. It's an exclamation of gratitude. So the author begins, "Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His steadfast love endures forever." And now, whenever I read anything in the Bible, I always have to kind of reinterpret things in my head. We all know that the Bible that appears now has been translated so many times and is translated and edited, and So I always think and advise people to take that understanding within and ask your inner self, what could possibly be there for me? What did that author originally intend? I'm going to give you a little plug because I have to say, one of those really great ways to find tools to do that with is a class called Metaphysical Interpretation of the Hebrew Bible, which I took this summer with Reverend Pat Venema, who taught as part of the SEE classes of Unity. Really opened my mind to think, oh my God, there's these stories that I could not relate to. There really is some deep metaphysical, symbolic meaning there. So, Lord for me is really divine energy. It's divine light. It's that infinite good that is all around us and within us. Right? And it doesn't have a gender. It's not he. So, with that in mind, let me just go in a little bit further. With the Lord on my side, I do not fear. What can mortals do to me? The Lord is on my side to help me. Oh, that's an interesting little ditty. Answer it.
God calls answer.
Yay. Okay. So let me do that again. Okay, with the Lord on my side, I do not fear. What can mortals do to me? The Lord is on my side to help me. I shall look in triumph on those who hate me. So, in other words, if I'm immersed in this divine energy of love, this transcendent joy, if I'm immersed in that, I can't experience fear. I can't experience fear. And I can't be pulled into those lower energies of hatred. It just can't touch me. Can't touch this. I'm immersed in the energy of divine light and love. Those things can't touch me. So the rest of the psalm is about how he goes through and transmutes and transforms a series of challenges into joy and strength. Because the author knows the secret of the Philosopher's Stone. He knows that power of gratitude to transform and being in alignment with that divine energy. He's there. And so the psalm ends by saying, I thank you that you have answered me and have become my salvation. The stone the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone. There it is. There's that reference to the stone. The chief cornerstone. The one that everyone has rejected. Most people reject a way of life that's centered on gratitude. They just reject it out of hand. Oh, that's too Pollyanna. Oh, you're not being realistic. Oh, you're not focusing on the serious things. So they just reject it. But he's found it. And we can find it. That philosopher's stone, that power of gratitude to keep us centered in love and joy, which transmutes all of it. It transmutes everything in our lives. That's it. That's our philosopher's stone, right? That's it. A consistent practice of proactive gratitude will transform everything in our lives. So how do we incorporate this? How do we begin to practice this kind of modern alchemy? Well, to do that, I have 2 assignments for you. Oh, no, they're not assignments. They're party games. That's what Pam calls it. It sounds a little bit, it's the game. Come on, let's have fun with it, party games. And the first game she calls the Looney Goonie game. A Looney Goonie game, which is a challenge to be astonished by useless things. So we're talking about everyday, ordinary things that are in front of us. You know, and basically everything that's here. Oh, I'm so grateful for this candle. Oh, I'm grateful for the window that shows I can see the beauty out of the window. I'm grateful for the chairs that you're sitting on so you can be comfortable. Yeah, right. Let's be grateful. The things that you normally take for granted that you don't even think, you pass by, you don't even think. You know, I'm grateful, but are really amazing. I'm grateful for my eyes and my ears so I can see and hear you. I'm grateful for those fans. It's nice to have fans. I'm grateful for the microphone. I'm grateful for toothpaste. Toothpaste is a good thing. You know? So you just think about all of the things that you go through in the day, the things that are right in front of you that you normally don't think about, and you express gratitude. So this is the challenge. Right? Go through your day, think about all those things, and just express gratitude for it. And then the party game number 2, I think we're gonna leave that for the next time. I want you to kind of build your muscle with this. This is a muscle building exercise. You know, last week we talked about all of the things, all the blessings in our lives that we wanted to express ferocious gratitude for. Right? And then this week, we're just going to focus on just everything, being grateful for everything. So the next time, just going to give you a little hint, we're going to be searching for all of the blessings in the challenges. Really thinking about pulling out the blessings, calling forth the blessings in all of the challenges. But in the meantime, practice this alchemy. And enjoy a little bit of magic. Pay attention. Just be open to, there's magic all around us. Magical, synchronous events that happen all the time. And gratitude opens our consciousness, allows us to see it, allows us to experience it, raises our energy level so that we're in that place where nothing negative can pull us down or touch us. It may be all around us, but it can't touch us because we're in that energy of joy. We're immersed in that energy of joy and love. All right. And it's the party game is in your bulletin, so you have that to take home and practice. Namaste.